Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on, everybody? What is going on? This is your man, Big B. Welcome back to Big B Daily. We are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. We appreciate everybody being in here, man. What is going on today? Man, we are covering some good stuff today. Again, covering Broncos getting rid of Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. Where is his next destination? Why did they get rid of him? Jason Kelce officially retires. Is he the GOAT center? And then Dak is certain he's going to get a deal done. But should the Cowboys even want to get a deal done? We'll cover that and more. We appreciate everybody being here. Again, live on TikTok. Keep tapping the screen, TikTok. We need at least 5,000 likes and 30 new follows. So if you're in here, please give us a follow. We appreciate it. And then if you're on YouTube, please subscribe if you're not. Other than that, let's get this thing going. First thing up, Broncos cut Russell Wilson. You know, it's not official yet, obviously. The new year starts next week. So once that happens, they're going to let Russell Wilson go. Here's the thing. Let's start off with this. Why did they get rid of him? Let's start there. Why did they get rid of Russell Wilson to begin with? I mean, was he that bad? I thought he had a decent year last year. It wasn't great. But why did they get rid of him? So, it's just crazy. And no, it's not actually official because the new league year hasn't started yet. So you can't cut somebody until the new league year starts, my man. So no, it's not official. But why did they get rid of him? I mean, Peyton wants to, first of all, have you all ever seen a head coach treat a quarterback that way publicly? I mean, at every opportunity, Sean Payton was just bashing the guy. Every opportunity. Jiminy Christmas. Never seen anything like that in professional sports. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, if you didn't like him, which clearly he didn't like him, that's fine. But, whoo, Lord have mercy. And here's a good point over on YouTube. Darren Howard says, I don't hate anybody enough to hand over $85 million. I mean, that's what the Broncos have to eat, $85 million over the next 2 years. I mean, how do you build a competitive roster? Lord have mercy. So I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Somebody on TikTok saying, well, in all fairness, you know, they asked Peyton asked to be coach Russell Wilson hard. There's coaching somebody hard and then publicly embarrassing somebody. You can coach me hard and yell and scream and do all of that. That doesn't require public humiliation. That's not what coaching hard equals. That's not what that equals. So it's just crazy that he would coach him that way. It's just wild. And you're right. A lot of people on TikTok, a lot of people are saying, yeah, Russ handled it better than I would. Absolutely. You can't just treat me any kind of way. You know, just because it clearly Peyton didn't want him to be the quarterback. I mean, that flat out. But for you then to just embarrass me at every single step. And if you notice, even when Russ got it going and was playing well, you never really heard Sean Payton say that he was playing well. You never really heard him say that. He never said, oh, man, he's playing good. You know, Russ did his thing today. Oh, man, we wouldn't have won without Russ. He never went out of his way to compliment him. It was just anytime he made a mistake, he was on his head. Lord, have mercy. What's going on, Zach? We appreciate you, man. Thanks for the gift. So it's just weird that he would treat him that way. Like I said, Russ wasn't great, especially the year before. He was terrible. He was terrible the year before. Now, part of that was the coaching was god awful. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett had no business being a head coach. That's why I always think it's funny that people were willing to give Nathaniel Hackett a job, but you weren't willing to give Eric Bieniemy a job. That's weird. That's really weird to me. But whatever. But Russ was awful that season. I don't care how bad the coaching was. You don't have to play that bad. You don't have to play that bad. And he did. He played pathetic. Moved to a new year, new coach, new staff, new system. Russ comes in, and from the very beginning, now some of the stuff that Russ was doing, getting his own parking spot, having his own office. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? That's Denver. But here's the thing. If you remember, it was different ownership that gave Russ all that. Different regime, different GM, different head coach. They gave Russ all that. And then Sean Payton comes in and says, absolutely not. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And yeah, some people on TikTok, you're saying, why didn't they trade him? Nobody's trading for that. There is no team in the National Football League that was going to trade and have to pay Russell Wilson that kind of money. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. So, I mean, this is the end result. I've never seen a team want to eat this is the record for dead money. $85 million over 2 years. Whew. I mean, that's basically saying the Broncos are not going to be good for 2 years because you're eating up that kind of cap space that you can't pay guys. That just has to sit there on your salary cap. Split it in half. That's fine. Whatever. I mean, because that's what they're doing. So you got to eat that money over 2 years that you can't pay other guys to be on your team. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would suspect the Broncos aren't very good for the next 2 years because of that. That's what I would suspect. Just terrible, man. Man. And my man Darren Howard on YouTube said they gave Peyton all the power and he's abusing it. Yeah, that's right. They gave him all the power, and here we go. And there's nothing that the Broncos coach they can do about it. The ownership is like, you gave him that contract, and here we go. Whew. I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's switch the focus on what happened with Russ to where the best fit for Russ is. A lot of people are saying Atlanta. Maybe. I don't put past New England or Washington, even if he's just a bridge quarterback for both places. I don't put it past that. I think those would be good fits. Be a bridge, mentor somebody. And maybe that's what Russ is in this point of his career. Maybe he's a bridge quarterback, unless he can prove otherwise. Some people are saying Chicago. No, not Chicago. Chicago's in a position where they're going to draft the guy because they're going to trade Justin Fields. They're going to draft the guy. Chicago's trying to win now. And they're in a position where they can win now. Russ wouldn't fit into that. But the other two places, they have no illusions of trying to win right now. The Patriots are rebuilding. Washington is rebuilding. Seems like Washington has been rebuilding forever. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But yeah, man, it's crazy. I don't know about Atlanta. People keep throwing out Atlanta or Pittsburgh. For my Steelers, I don't know that I want Russ. I don't think he would be a bad fit. He's definitely better than what we got. Let me be clear. He's better than Baby Hands. He's better than Mason Rudolph. So he's better than what we got. But we'll see. Atlanta might be it because I can tell you this. If Russ played the way that he played last year, and he's on the Falcons, the Falcons win that division. Period. End of story. The Falcons win that division. Maybe going away because I think they have at least two, maybe three more wins with Russ as their quarterback. So I think Atlanta might actually be the spot because Atlanta's ready to win right now. Atlanta's ready to win. And they were ready to win last year. But somehow they thought that Desmond Ritter was going to be the answer at quarterback. It's just, oh my gosh. Horrible decisions. Horrible. Not even bad. Horrible decisions. And Atlanta Falcons fans had to pay the price for that. They had to watch their team give up leads, not be able to score enough points. When the defense played fine, the offense could do nothing because you had bad quarterback play. Bad quarterback play, man. So, and here's the thing. It must be an epidemic now where coaches are like, look, if my job's on the line, I'm going to start calling it what it is and not giving as much coach speak. Because you saw Raheem Morris come out and say, hey, man, I wouldn't even be in Atlanta if we had better quarterback play. I love it. I love it. You know, coaches are just coming out and saying, hey, you're bad. And I agree with it. Because if your job's on the line, be honest. Be honest. Don't give us the coach speak stuff. Just be honest and tell them, hey, they would have been good last year had they had good quarterback play. But if they didn't, now I got hired. I'm going to make sure we get some better quarterbacks in here. Good for him, man. But the Falcons got to figure it out. I think that's the best spot for Russ. I think it's the best spot for Russ. Atlanta. They're ready to win. He's competent, regardless of what people think. He's a competent quarterback. You know, now, if you all heard, I don't know if any of y'all heard today, we got to get RG3 off the gummies. We got to get that man off the wacky weed because he said today that you can't compare Russell Wilson to Tom Brady, but you can compare Russell Wilson to Peyton Manning. I said, huh? What? And the people on the set were flabbergasted. I'm like, hold on, RG3. I get that Russ is your guy. You like Russ. Y'all must be friends. And I understand that. But are you trying to tell me that you're going to compare Russell Wilson to Peyton Manning, that they're the same guy? Oh, man. I just, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane what they will put on TV. And look, I like RG3. I definitely like him when he's calling college games because he'll just say anything. And maybe this is part of it. He's just saying anything to get some kind of response. I get that as far as television, but you don't have to be that clickbaitish on TV, man. Come on. Jiminy Christmas. But it is what it is. I think Russ going there, I think it would be good. I think it would be good. So, yeah, it just I think he would be good in Atlanta. I think Atlanta can make something happen. I really do with Russ. I think they can make something happen. So, my man Darren Howard said, hey, man, RG3 click hunting at this point. Yeah, man, come on. You don't have to say stuff like that. We get that he might be your boy and all this, but RG3, you're already relevant. You're already on ESPN, bro. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be clickbaitish. Nobody's going to forget you. Just give us what you give us. But now you're losing credibility trying to compare Russell Wilson to Peyton Manning. Now your credibility is shot because nobody can take you seriously. You're saying stupid stuff like that. You better stop. You better stop. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. As a reminder, man, everybody in here, again, if you are on TikTok, please keep tapping the screen. Keep tapping the screen. We need at least 5,000 likes and 30 new follows. So if you're in and you're not following, please give us a follow. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We appreciate that. So, yeah. RG3 got to stay off them gummies, man. It's not worth it, bro. You're losing your career. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Moving on, man. Jason Kelce officially retires. One of the best, if not the best, offensive lineman in Philadelphia Eagles history. I would say it's between him and Jason Peters. But let me ask you this question. A lot of people are throwing this out there, and it's not really a prisoner of the moment because he's been an all-pro the last 6 years. Is Jason Kelce, is he the best center of all time? You know, a lot of times we get into, okay, it's prisoner of the moment. The guy just retired. We feel bad, and we want to say this because we're going to miss him. But is he the best? I mean, there's some really good centers that have played. You know, I'm partial to Damani Dawson, Pouncey, but both Pounceys, it's wild. It's just weird. It's just weird. So, but is he the best? Jeff Saturday. People are saying Jeff Saturday was better. I can go with that. People love Mike Webster from back in the day from Pittsburgh. So I don't know. It's just, do we think that he's the best? I think he's up there. Look, he was cooking dudes last year. I mean, he was still super athletic 13 years into the league, pulling around after snapping a football. First of all, after snapping a football and being able to pull around either end is not an easy thing to do. It's especially not easy 13 years into the league. So, definitely not. So, I'm not sure how you say that Jeff Saturday had more power when Jason Kelce literally led a quarterback sneak. They ran right behind him, and everybody knew it was coming, and they had 3 and 4 guys directly over him, and they still couldn't stop it. So saying somebody has more power than him is a little foolish, I would say. A little foolish. You can say you like Jeff Saturday better, but when you come on here, you got to come with some facts. And to say Jeff Saturday had more power when we were literally watching a man, not one-handed, but watching him lead a quarterback sneak when nobody could stop it. Don't tell me somebody else had more power than that. Don't tell me that, because that's just not true. That's just not true. So, and that's the thing. Nobody could stop it. Nobody could stop it. So it's crazy. But I like Kelce. I think he's good. Not good. He's great. He was great. A lot of times you can't say that about everybody and say people are great. You can say Jason Kelce was great. And you're not being a prisoner of the moment when you do so, which is key, because a lot of times people are. So he'll go down as one of the greats. Absolutely. Here's a thought. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Now, him getting into the Hall of Fame that's already said and done. I don't think there's any question on that. Does he go in on the first ballot? You know how writers and all these voters can be finicky. They won't put a center in just because he played center. They'll make him wait. Just like they do receivers. They make them wait. So will they make him wait? So, because here's the thing. We love Kelce, but think about first ballot. We're talking Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, Lawrence Taylor, players like that, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders. Does Jason Kelce fit that mold of first ballot? Or does he even have to fit that mold to be on first ballot? See, here's my thing. I don't think he does. I don't think he has to. So I don't think he has to fit a mold to be first ballot. Look, we all understand that there's different rooms in the Hall of Fame. We all understand that. Nobody's going to confuse Jason Kelce of being the greatest football player of all time. But you can make a really strong argument that he's the greatest center of all time. You can make that argument. And I think for that, I think you have to be first ballot Hall of Famer. I think you do. Doesn't mean that you're the greatest football player of all time, but if you're in a conversation of being the best center of all time, I think that's got to make you a first ballot. Now, Whether the voters vote him in or not, that's a different conversation for a different day, because y'all know how that goes. But to say that he shouldn't be, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's levels to the Hall of Fame, and we all know that. There's levels to it, and that's okay. But when you're in the conversation of being the greatest ever at your position, then you have to be first ballot. Here's the thing. Being the greatest, I know somebody's going to say, well, aren't all guys in the Hall of Fame the greatest at the position or in that conversation? No, they are not. No, they are not. Here's a perfect example. Curtis Martin is in the NFL Hall of Fame. Some people don't even know who Curtis Martin is. That's on this live right now. Some of you guys are like, who the hell is B talking about? Curtis Martin is in the Hall of Fame. And he should be in the Hall of Fame. There is no question about that. But will his name ever come up in a conversation of being the greatest running back ever? No. Jerome Bettis is the same way. I love the Butts. Played for the Steelers, so you know I love him. But is his name ever going to come up in a top 5 or top 10 category for best running back of all time? No. And it shouldn't. But is he Hall of Fame worthy? You're damn right he is. Absolutely. So that's the whole point with all of this. Was Jonathan Ogden first ballot? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jonathan Ogden, again, is in the conversation. If there were 5, if you just said, okay, the best left tackles ever, I don't think Jonathan Ogden is 4th. I don't even think he's 3rd. I think he's in the top 3 ever. So, Joe Namath, look, man, we know why Joe Namath made the Hall of Fame. If they had to redo that, they would not have Joe Namath be in the Hall of Fame. He didn't have the numbers. He didn't win. If you have more picks than touchdowns and you're in the Hall of Fame, what the hell? Oh well. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I think Kelce, I think he had a great career. They tried to get rid of him too in Philly, if y'all remember. They tried to get rid of him. You know, he got hurt, came back, had a bad year. I think it was 2015. Yeah, 2015. He had a bad year. They were ready to run him out of town. And the next thing you know, the man turns into an all-pro and the best center in the league from then on out. From then all out. So, but yeah, I like Kelce. I think he's in the Hall of Fame. I think he should be a first ballot. Whether the voters vote him in or not, we'll see. Great career. Great career. Philadelphia icon. He got more popular as he got older. But I think part of that is because I don't know if he got better as a player as he got older, but he didn't get worse. He was consistent. Consistently great. And he stayed with one team. A lot of people respect that, you know. But he was able to stay with one team. But let's move on, people. Let's move on. Love Kelce. Future Hall of Famer. Hopefully he's a first ballot. Hopefully they let that happen. So let's move on to old Dak Prescott. Those old crazy Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones comes out of the combine, says he'll get a deal done. Dak is saying, oh, there's no doubt we'll get a deal done. Let me just start off with some questions to Cowboys fans in general. What do y'all think? Do you think that the Cowboys should extend Dak? Because do you think the extension should be $55 to $60 million a year? Do you think that? Now here, let me throw some facts out at people. Now, Dak last year finished 2nd in the MVP voting. He led the league in touchdown passes. Dak had a great year last year. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. But if you really just kind of dissect it up, a lot of the numbers weren't against great football teams. When you dig in, a lot of it wasn't against great football teams. But look, hey, you play against who's in front of you. He doesn't decide the schedule. He doesn't decide what team is good and who's not. That's not what Dak Prescott is responsible for. His job is to go out there and beat whoever's in front of him. So some people are saying, I'm cutting bait on Dak. You can't win. He can't win when it counts. Let me ask y'all this. Let me throw a number out there or a scenario out there and see if you guys agree. Let's just say the Cowboys say to him, hey, Dak, look, we want to extend you for another 3 years and basically make guaranteed money for 2. Y'all know how contracts work. We want to extend you for 3 years, but you got to take a pay cut, man. You can't get $55 million. Look, what we're doing right now with paying you this portion of the salary cap, Dak, it isn't working. You need more pieces around you. You need another top flight receiver. You need a better running back. You need some more offensive linemen. We need some more defensive players. What we're doing with you taking up, and I don't know the exact number, but let's just say 20% of the salary cap you're taking up. That isn't working for us. So we want you to be here and be the quarterback, but you got to take less. You got to take up 14% of the salary cap. We got to give you $40 million versus 55. Are you willing to stay? We'll extend you for 3 years if you do that. And if I'm Dak, then it comes down to, do I want to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, and you can say, hey, market value tells me this. A market value could be nothing. And he could take the $60 million this year. But do we think, let me just ask you this. If Dak takes $60 million this year and the Cowboys say, okay, that's it, you walk, we're done with you. Do you really think anybody's going to sign up to pay Dak Prescott $60 million the following season? The answer to that is hell no. Hell no. They ain't going to do that. Nobody's going to sign up to pay Dak $60 million. And I think the Cowboys should be one of those teams that tell him the same thing. No. No, no, no. Just be smart for once. Do the right thing. And look, you might have to take it on the chin this year and pay him the $60 million. Okay. But you know what, Dak? You better win, because if you don't win, you're out. Period. End of story. And when I mean win, you better win the Super Bowl. Anything like you're going to take up this kind of money on our salary cap because we're stuck. We made a bad contract. We're stuck with you. But either you do this and you win the Super Bowl, and if you don't, you are done here in Dallas. And he will be done in Dallas because I know Cowboys fans. They will crucify. He'll have to move. He won't be able to stay in Dallas. Even if he goes and plays somewhere else and he wants to retire here, he's not going to be able to do that. I mean, I live here, so I know how Dallas fans are. You're going to be disloyal to the team and not win? Get out. Get out. And I wouldn't blame him one bit. I wouldn't blame him one bit. Dak isn't going to the Steelers. The Steelers don't want Dak. So, no, he's not going to the Steelers. Not even a little bit. Over on YouTube, big Dallas Cowboy fan, my man Pat Cockrell. As a Cowboys fan, no, I don't think Dak should be extended. Playoffs is what matters, and he doesn't perform well when it matters. I've seen enough to know it's time to move on. That's what a lot of people, Cowboy fans, are saying. They're like, no, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Maybe trade him. Oh, my gosh. Somebody over here said Dak is a top 5 quarterback. Now, I'll admit Dak played like a top 5 quarterback during the regular season this year. He did that. But I don't think they're paying Dak to be good in the regular season. I think they're paying Dak because they want him to win playoff games. I think that's why they're paying Dak. And he wasn't the reason that they lost in the playoffs. People that are saying that, no, Dak could have been playing his A game and they were going to get beat because they couldn't stop the Packers. But Dak didn't play well. He didn't play well. So he wasn't the reason they lost, but he did not play well. So we'll see. My man Darren Howard said, it all depends if Jerry really wants a championship or to fill the seats. Well, I think Jerry Jones has kind of answered that question. He's definitely more concerned about filling the seats than he is winning. I mean, we know that. I mean, he built Jerry World, and there was no reason to. And then he built it, and he just cared about, okay, you know what? I've got this big brand. We're going to fill the seats, and we're going to start making money. It is what it is, man. So, but yeah, man, I can't believe somebody would say, look, growth in me, I would call you nuts, but I'm not going to do that. But saying Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback that's an insane statement. I mean, that's being silly. I mean, I would say, that's not even being a Dallas homer. That's just being silly, but it is what it is. So, yeah, there it is. My man Matt Hasselbring over on YouTube said last time I checked, Dak didn't give up 48 points to the Packers. No, he did not. He did not. So, that's the whole thing. It's like, Dak wasn't the reason that the Cowboys lost that playoff game. He just wasn't. People that saying that he is, you're wrong. I will say that. You are dead wrong. But he didn't play well in the game. That's the thing. He didn't help himself because he didn't play well. So, had he played well, then you could have that argument. But he didn't help himself and say, hey, man, I played the best that I could play, and we still got beat. That's not what happened. So, and people saying, come on, Mike. First of all, Mike said that Dak was a top 5 quarterback. Now you're saying Dak was responsible for losing the playoff game. Which is it, brother? Which is it? You got to make up your mind. Make up your mind. Jiminy Christmas. My man David Gonzalez over on TikTok. Move on to what? Elite quarterbacks are so rare, you're gambling and throwing away 2 or 3 seasons trying to get the next guy to see if you get lucky and strike gold. Well, how many seasons do you give Dak? This is his 8th year. What do you want? What are you wanting? Are you wanting to continuously lose in the first or second round of the playoffs? Or are you trying to get past that? That's the gamble that franchises have to take. 8 years is plenty of a sample size to say whether somebody can get it done or they can't get it done. That's enough of a sample size. Now, if you're okay with just doing that, fine. So, give him the same amount of time everyone gave Peyton Manning. So, we're comparing Dak to Peyton Manning. Got it. So, you're just like RG3, comparing Russell Wilson to Peyton Manning. Lord have mercy. I get it, Cowboys fans. I understand the delusion. I'm a fan too. But we got to stop. You got to stop. So, you got to stop. So, whew. Dak's got the same numbers. You're right. Dak is as good as Peyton Manning. Just say that. That's what you're saying. Dak is just as good as Peyton Manning. We got it. We got it. We absolutely got it. You see, you guys are testing my growth. You guys are testing my growth over on TikTok. I've tried to be nice. I don't like to call people delusional. Y'all know that I've grown over the last 2 days. I've tried to show growth. Educate, not humiliate. Educate, not humiliate. So, Dwight, don't you start. Don't you start. I guess I did say testing my growth. Pause. Lord have mercy. Dak is as good as Eli. I think he's better than Eli. Except not in the playoffs, he's not. If you get Eli in the playoffs, Eli was really good. At least 2 of those playoffs. He was good. Dak's never been that good in a playoff game. Ever. So, I don't think Eli was even a good quarterback. I don't. But when they got to the playoffs, in those 2 playoff runs, who was better? We call Tom Brady the GOAT. He outplayed Tom Brady twice in Super Bowls. Twice. Now, the defense helped him. Don't get me wrong. especially in that first one. The defense helped them. But who made the plays to win the game? Is Eli Manning, man. We got to stop. But do I think Dak is better than Eli? Absolutely. Because, I'm a person, I don't think Eli was that good. I don't think Eli was that good at all. But he did win playoff games when he needed to. Dak has never done that. Ever, ever, ever. So, Dak has more talent than Eli. Absolutely. Absolutely. But he's just not better. So, just not better. So, and Eli's going to make, this is what we're talking about, Hall of Fame. Eli's going to get into the Hall of Fame. Does anybody really believe that Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame football player? I mean, isn't Phillip Rivers better than Eli Manning? If you put Phillip Rivers on those Giants teams, don't you think that they're better? I mean, I'm just asking because I think they are. I think Phillip Rivers, who again never won anything, but I think Phillip Rivers is just as good. I think he's better than Eli Manning. And Eli is going to the Hall of Fame, bro. You got to stop. If nothing else, his name is Eli Manning, and he won 2 Super Bowls. Based on that, he's getting in the Hall of Fame. Will it be first ballot? Probably not. But Eli Manning is getting into the Hall of Fame. Stop the nonsense. Lord have mercy. That's happening. My man Pearland. Jerry deserves an award for having a franchise generating the most revenue without winning anything in 30 years. Say that again for the people in the back, my man. Jerry Jones is the NFL czar of owners. Has tricked a fan base into continuously supporting them, continuously showing up, buying merchandise, and has turned them into the most valuable franchise, and they haven't even made a championship game since 1995. Whew! 30 years of mediocrity. And yet, people still keep going. They line up around the corner for season tickets to the Cowboys. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I like I said, I like Dak. I don't dislike Dak. I just think he has trouble in big games. That's what I think. I think he's got problems in big games. So, and it's time to start rebuilding. Here's the thing. As a Cowboys fan, and I want y'all to answer this, Cowboys fans. If the Cowboys just said, you know what, we need to rebuild. We're going to be down for a couple of seasons. And when I mean down, they're going to be bad. Might win 5-6 games. But we're going to rebuild this thing, and we're going to build it up to be good again. Would y'all be okay with that? Would y'all be okay with that? So, that's interesting. Now, I'm looking at people over on TikTok. They're saying Dak wasn't the reason they lost in the playoff game. Well, yeah, we know that, brother. I'm on that. I'm on that train. Ooh, here's a good point. I've been saying this, and people get on my head. Parsons disappears in crunch time. Say it again. How many Cowboys fans were out there saying Micah Parsons is the next Lawrence Taylor? He's just as good as Lawrence Taylor. Did you ever see Lawrence Taylor disappear in a football game? No. Did you ever see teams just say, you know what? The best way to beat Lawrence Taylor is we're going to line up and run the ball right at him. Did you ever see anybody doing that? No. But Micah Parsons, they just say, yeah, he can run around us. He's an outstanding football player, and he is. But the best way to neutralize him, we're just going to run the football right at him. Right at him. And then what's he going to do? He does nothing. He tries to run around blocks. That doesn't work in the National Football League. And too many times you see Micah Parsons, like in the playoff game, he had a tackle and a pressure. That was it. A tackle and a pressure. Nothing more, nothing less. So, I just, And then he comes out and he does all this talking in the offseason. Y'all saw those interviews with Stephen A. I'm like, bro, just be quiet. You got whipped. You didn't show up. I noticed he didn't say that he didn't show up either. He just said it was the team. Well, the team, guys were complaining and making excuses. Instead, he should have just said, I played bad. I played bad. I didn't help. I've got to do a better job. That's what leaders do. He didn't do that. Instead, it was, well, the team said that they were tired. And basically, he's blaming DeMarcus Lawrence, who, again, I don't know why DeMarcus Lawrence came out and said guys were tired. I'm like, it's the playoffs. Everybody's tired. It's the end of the season. But what are you talking about? Whew. Crazy. Yeah. No, Micah Parsons said it was the defense's fault. That the defense, guys had agendas. They were saying that they were tired. Micah Parsons should have just come out and said, I didn't do enough. Why not start there? Because if they would have pressed him and just said, well, Micah, how did you do in the playoff game? Then he would have been mad, saying you're disrespecting me. You never played the game, so you can't talk to me. You can't ask questions. You don't know what you're talking about. That's exactly what he would have said. Versus, hey, that was actually the truth, Micah. You didn't show up in the playoff game. Your defense played lousy, and you played lousy right along with it. You were bad. He could have just said that, but he didn't. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. The whole team played lousy. He's part of the team. I get it. Cowboys got to do better. I don't know what Dak's going to do. I don't know. Are they going to give him the new deal? I'm leaning, yeah, they will. But if they pay Dak $60 million, I'm literally going to laugh. I'm just going to laugh. Because the quarterback salaries, and we're going to move on to the open mic session so y'all can ask anything. But if the owners have to stop paying, I know I've said this a million times, but the owners have to stop paying mediocrity for mediocrity. Stop paying these average quarterbacks. And I'm not saying Dak is average because he's better than that. But you've got to stop paying like Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Why is Daniel Jones making $40 million? That's what drives the price up on these other quarterbacks. That's what drives the price up is when owners like the Giants say, oh, well, we're going to give Daniel Jones $40 million. Well, if I'm a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow, I'm like, if Daniel Jones is making 40, I got to make 55. And then there we go. And that's what happens. That's literally what happens. So, I love it, but the Giants stink, so I'm not going to stop bashing the Giants. They paid a pedestrian quarterback who stinks $40 million. That's why the Giants aren't any good. They got bad management, bad ownership. They're a bad team. They can turn it around, though. Got to get Daniel Jones out of your locker room, though. Not a good quarterback. They paid the wrong guy, is what happened with the Giants. They paid Daniel Jones and didn't pay Saquon. The locker room is looking at ownership like, what? What are y'all doing? Like, why are you guys paying Daniel Jones? Why didn't you pay Saquon? And that's the problem. You get it in the locker room, and guys, they know who's good and who's not. And they're like, we did what? We're paying Daniel Jones what? And y'all are fighting Saquon? And that's another question. Where does Saquon end up? I don't think he's coming back to the Giants, even though he says he wants to be there. I don't think the Giants want to keep him. So where does he end up? The Raiders? The Cowboys? Cowboys do need a running back. And he would fit in very nicely in Dallas. He would fit in very nicely in Dallas. He would fit in nice in Baltimore. A lot of people are saying Houston. He'd fit in good in Houston. He'd fit in good with Philly. I mean, there's places that Saquon can go. Now, if Saquon has illusions that he's going to be making $12, $13 million a year, he's out of his mind. He's injury prone, and the running back market doesn't call for that anymore. But 8, 9 million over 3 years, he can go get that deal. He could go get that deal. So we'll see, though. We'll see what happens. I'll be interested to see where Saquon Barkley goes. Anybody interested where Saquon goes? I'm sure they are. Derrick Henry to Dallas. He got a house here. He works out in Dallas in the offseason, and he has a house in Dallas already. So it makes sense. It makes sense. Will he do it? I don't know. But they definitely have the need. They could sign Pollard back to a deal that said, hey, Pollard, you're a better complimentary back and third down back. You are not a number one guy. So they could sign Pollard to that and see what happens. I think that's the best thing that should happen. Good question by my man, Matt Hasselbring. What kind of contract will Baker get? $40 million? Probably. If Daniel Jones can get $40 million, Baker Mayfield has accomplished more than Daniel Jones. So, yes, probably in the $40 to $42 million range a year for Baker. That's what I'm guessing. So, I love what Baker has control over his future right now. I love that fact that he does. So, how has Baker accomplished more? Well, Baker went to Pittsburgh and won a playoff game. Did Daniel Jones do that? And if you're saying that Pittsburgh is the same as Minnesota, I will laugh in your face. And he went to a team and he just won a division and won another playoff game. So, and he was the offensive rookie of the year his rookie season. So you tell me what Daniel Jones has done close to that, then we can talk. But since you're not going to be able to say that, let's just move on. Let's move on. Hey, on TikTok, y'all got to leave Boss Man alone. I think he's got issues. And all he does is come in here and tells me that Kansas State stinks every day. We love him, man. Leave that dude alone. Leave him alone. He's crazy. We love him in here every day. Giants are going to trade up for Caleb Williams. There's not a chance. Not a chance. There's no way Chicago is letting that go. They're not going to. They have to take a quarterback. Now, do they have to take Caleb Williams? No, they don't. I mean, if they took Drake May, if they took Jaden Daniels, I wouldn't mind. But they got to take a quarterback. Have to. So, Chicago should trade down and draft an O-lineman. Well, they're going to take an O-lineman anyway with number 9. So, yeah, there's no way that Chicago or Washington are passing on a quarterback. That's not happening. That is not happening. So Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't work out or do anything at the combine, and there's reports that he's not even really going to have a pro day. Y'all think it's a good fit if he goes to Arizona? Here's my thoughts. If he goes to Arizona, how many more years does Arizona stick with Kyler Murray? So we'll see, man. I don't know. Like, how many more years are they going to stick with him? Kyler's good. Kyler's okay. He's not horrible. He's better than Daniel Jones, I'll tell you that. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. I need to get off and stop bashing Daniel Jones. I apologize, Giants fans. Y'all feel the pain already. Y'all know he stinks. I'll let it go. So, Russ to the Steelers. No, I don't want Russ to the Steelers. Not yet. Let's explore some other options before we decide on if Russ is a good fit in Pittsburgh. We'll see. We'll see. My man, David Gonzalez, I just want to know when you're going to walk us through all the memorabilia behind you. That tells us a lot about you. I mean, I got Kansas State helmets. I got Louisville helmets. I got Pittsburgh helmets. I'm a Steelers fan, die hard. I'm a Louisville Cardinals fan, die hard. I'm a Kansas State fan. I went and played at Kansas State. That'll tell you who I am. And the reason I didn't go to Louisville is because when it was time for me to go to college, Louisville sucked, and I didn't want to go get my head beaten in every week. Period, point blank. That's the reason I didn't go to Louisville. I love Louisville with all my heart. I've been a die-hard fan my whole life. But they were horrible. So who the hell wants to go get their head beaten in? Not me. I didn't. Not at all. Baby Hands Pickett needs to go to the UFL. I don't think he needs to do that, but I think Baby Hands got problems. What's wrong with Pickett? He's not any good. That's what's wrong with him. So, Longhorn Nation. Hey, we played in 98. We played Texas. You should look it up. That didn't go well for the Heisman Trophy winner that day. It didn't go well for old Ricky Williams that day. Mike Evans stays in Tampa. I thought that Mike Evans would stay in Tampa because, first of all, why do you want to leave the weather and move out of Florida? Second, he didn't need to ring chase. He's already got a ring. And all he wanted to do was be paid. And I think Tampa just wanted to see, okay, is he still productive at his age? Clearly he is. So then they paid him. So I think that had a lot to do with it. My man, Pat Cockrell, how many teams from the Big 12 do you think make the Sweet 16 in March Madness? Unfortunately, I think it's going to be 3. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I think 3 will make it. I think Houston's going to make it because Houston is that good. I think Baylor is going to end up making it because Baylor's going to be able to outshoot teams. And Texas. Watch Texas. I know people, what are you talking about, B? Texas has the most talent of anybody in the Big 12. Watch Texas. Now, I think Iowa State has an outside chance too, but they don't shoot it as well as the other schools do. They also don't have a go-to guy that you can just give them the ball and they're going to go take a game home when the game's tied with 5 minutes to go. So we'll see. We will see. Bucks won't repeat as the South champs. I mean, if Atlanta gets a competent quarterback, you're right. Hell, they wouldn't have won the division this year. If Atlanta had competent quarterback, Atlanta would have won it. Would I take Fields in Pittsburgh? Ask Matt Hasselbring on YouTube. I absolutely would. I mean, look, I am out on Baby Hands Pickett. I'm out. I am out. So, I mean, I'm done. 6 touchdown passes in 11 starts. I am done. And I don't want to hear that it was all Matt Canada's fault. I don't want to hear that. That ain't true. The Baby Hands is just not good. It's okay to say that, too. It's okay to say Kenny Pickett's just not that good. So, is Kelce the greatest center? He's in the conversation if he's not the best. He's absolutely in the conversation. Do you see Tua doing anything this coming season? Yeah. But they've got a defensive problem in Miami. So we'll find out how good they are. We'll find out. But I think Tua will be fine. I think Tua will be just fine. They got some other issues. People are blaming Tua like it's not Tua's fault. But if anybody thought they were going to Kansas City and winning a game where it was -30, you were out of your mind. You're out of your mind. There was no way they were winning a football game like that. So, would you say you had, or who did you say you had? Was it Creighton? I don't have Creighton winning, but I think Creighton's going to do some damage in the tournament. Beware of Marquette. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a little free advice. Beware of Marquette. And when I mean beware, I wouldn't have Marquette going very long in your bracket. So, speaking of bracket, the old Big B's guide to March Madness is going to be coming out here in the next day or so. They're going to be coming out, a Big B's guide to March Madness to help you all win your all's tournament. Win your bracket. Win you some money. Get you some bragging rights. $5 is all it's going to cost, people, when we get that thing out. Go pick you up one. I'll let you know when it comes out. We'll put the link in the guide and all that good stuff in the bio for the guide. It will just get you through. Help you win. Help you win. You think JJ will be a star QB in the NFL? Hard to say. Hard to say. I think he's better than what people are giving him credit for because they're saying, well, he didn't throw a lot in college. Well, he wasn't asked to, and he didn't need to. You know? It doesn't mean he can't. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I just think or JJ McCarthy, I think, you know, when you're on a team that runs the ball down people's throat, and that's how you win games, and they ask you, okay, we need you to make some throws every now and then, that doesn't mean you're not good. It just means, why put the ball in harm's way? Let's just run it, and when we need you to throw it, we'll ask you to do it. But other than that, make the game simple. That's what Michigan did. They played outstanding defense. They ran the ball, and that's it. I think he's fine. And the whole thing about it is you don't even know whether he's really good. You know, he hadn't been in a situation where he had to throw the ball 35 times in a game. That doesn't mean he can't. It just means you didn't see it in college. So that means they knew something. Oh, talking about Michigan cheating? I mean, okay. I mean, just ran the ball. We're going to line up and run the ball at you. Don't you have to tackle them? I mean, that's all I know. So, people, that's so overblown, I don't even get into talking about it. He's Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy made plays when Brock Purdy needed to make plays. So, Brock Purdy made some plays when they needed him to make plays. Uh-oh, I just saw something. Ooh, the Giants are not placing the franchise tag on Saquon. That just came across the ticker. So Saquon's going to be out in New York because I don't think they're going to sign him to a deal. I mean, they still can, but I don't think they're going to. So I don't think they're going to. It'll be interesting if they do. It'll be really interesting if they do. My whole thing is you could have done that all along, and you didn't. Or maybe they've had conversations with him and say, hey, man, we're going to make a deal work, but we're not going to sign. We're not going to put this franchise tag on you. There's no need to. And maybe they'll franchise somebody else. I don't think they will because who else do they have that they need to franchise for the Giants? Yeah, they need an overhaul. I mean, again, they got a locker room trusting the management problem in New York because that's where the issue comes in, is that the players are looking at the management like, you pay Daniel Jones this and you wouldn't pay Saquon when you know Saquon is the reason that Daniel Jones is any good. You know that. And yet you chose not to pay him, pay this guy all this money when you didn't have to. And now it's bit you in the butt, and now you're starting over. It's pathetic. So, Justin Herbert, 2024 MVP. Not a chance. Not a chance. I am one of the people that said Justin Herbert's overrated. Ton of talent. Ton of talent. And you can tell me that he set all these records as a rookie. Well, how does that equate to anything? You know? And everybody always says, oh, winning is a team stat. It's not a quarterback stat. Yeah, when you're splitting hairs and you're saying who's better than who, doesn't winning have to matter? I mean, what are we talking about? For instance, everybody, and I mean everybody that knows quarterback play, including quarterbacks, will tell you that Dan Marino is the most talented quarterback that ever played in the National Football League. Everybody will tell you that. But Dan Marino's name it never comes up in the greatest quarterback of all time. Why? Because he didn't win anything. And every now and then, you have to be able to do something. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? I guess my live's going to end on TikTok. They're saying they've detected inactivity. So, but it's going to end. But it is what it is. We're good. But yeah, I don't understand that. Nobody has ever said that Dan Marino was the best. Nobody. So it is what it is. That's my whole point with all of this. That's my point. You can't, at some point, you have to be able to win, regardless of what's on your team. You got to be able to win. You got to be able to do that. And by saying that you can't, or by saying that you won't because of your team, again, if you're playing on a lousy team, that's one thing. I don't think that the Chargers are lousy. I don't think they were lousy at all. I think they were actually good. Now, they had horrible head coaching. I know that. They had horrible head coaches. But I don't think they were a horrible football team. At some point, you got to make a difference. So we're going to shut this one down, people. I appreciate everybody being here, man. If you are not subscribed to Big B Sports Talk, please do. Also, do us a favor. Tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time, Instant Replay Podcast will be on live with your man Big B here with my guy CC. We got a funny, entertaining, but informative podcast we do every Tuesday on YouTube. So come check it out. It's a live stream. Come and check it out. We appreciate everybody in here, man. So we appreciate you all joining. Again, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Do us a favor. Come join the live tonight. It'll be funny. It's good. We've been doing it for about 5 weeks. We're growing. It's brand new, but we're growing. So we appreciate you all showing up. Appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you guys. And we will holler at you later. Aloha.